Hi, my name is Eric, and I've scaled my freelance venture up to 5 figures a month using AI. And in this video, I'm going to share with you nearly $7,000 worth of mistakes I made on the way up and the pivot that finally turned it all around for me. So AI is huge right now, and there's a lot of people looking at this space seriously in order to make an income. You'll look on YouTube, and there's people offering only upsides, and the earning potential is impressive. However, there's a lot more of a learning curve than a lot of people give it credit for, right? So when I was first starting out, I was very excited. I was all gas and just going straight for it. However, I made a lot of really silly mistakes along the way, and I'd like to share those with you so that you can avoid them, ideally. I changed my format a little bit. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about my experience and the positives and negatives of getting into freelancing or starting an AI agency this year, how much I actually lost in the first 6 months, and the pivots and what actually works after we check that out. So let's jump right into it. Mistake number one, first thing I did was I was really focused on keeping up with the newest technologies and tools, right? I got distracted by really cool YouTube tutorials about new ways of making agents and different hypothetical business ideas and all sorts of stuff. And it really convoluted my message, so I was chasing a lot of new tools, and that came with a lot of subscriptions, and the cost added up there, right? So I didn't have a clear offer. I didn't have a solution to a specific problem. I had many potential solutions to many hypothetical problems, and I didn't give myself the opportunity to learn any one tool. So I presented myself when I was speaking to potential clients that I would be able to do everything, and I didn't say that verbatim, but my offer was implicit in my offer, where I did all this stuff and I was going to save the day. And of course, nobody believed me because I didn't have any specific tangible results or case studies at the time, right? AI tools are a tactic. Tactics come and go. Your strategy is what we really need to spend the time on, and I was not doing that. We need to develop a strategy over the tactics, because tactics change as time goes on. Your strategy is what's going to allow you to achieve your goals. Nobody cared about all of these cool new features and tools, and they were cool. There was a reason I was being distracted by this stuff, but it didn't move the needle for me because I wasn't solving anything specific, which brings me to number two, the money pit. Pardon me, I'm a little under the weather, so I hope you can get past that. Anyway, with all these new tools came expenses. I was spending $1,100 on average, maybe sometimes more, sometimes less, on all the new subscriptions, all the new models, the pro plans of everything. And then I was wasting a lot of money on my outbound campaign. And outbound is the way. There's a lot of leverage with cold email and different outbound campaigns and whatnot. But without a clear offer and a clear solution, it was just throwing money into the money pit. I would email, I sent 40,000 emails, and nobody, even when I did get replies, it wouldn't result in any incoming revenue for me because I didn't have a clear offer, and it wound up losing me a significant amount of money. So tools should make your money, not cost money. You need to justify why you're spending this on a subscription or why you're paying so much for your outbound or whatever. So you start with revenue and then scale up and develop tools, which again brings me to my third mistake, where I was working backwards. And by now you've probably pieced together how this works. The first thing I did was learn something cool, but didn't apply it to a specific solution. So instead of developing, what I did was I reached out to as many people as I could about some vague AI solution to their problems. I coded it with this sheen that I thought was professionalism. It didn't pass the sniff test. People were able to see that I didn't have anything there. And so I was reaching out to people, and even when I did get some interested replies, because blind squirrel, I didn't have any way to connect the dots to make it a rational investment for them. So after some reflection, I realized why I was spinning my tires, and it's because I didn't have anything of value to offer. I essentially was pitching that AI exists and it was the worst. So I scrapped everything and I started completely from scratch, and I looked to my existing network. I reached out to some of my old producer friends and people in businesses that I was part of before, and even reached out on freelance platforms like Upwork and Fiverr to find out exactly what people needed solved. And then I started working from there instead of starting with outbound and then finding a solution. Which brings me to point number four. Once I found these problems and I started correcting my approach to things, I would look out to see if there was already some some templates in place and things that I could kind of repurpose for myself, which is fine. However, I was competing with everybody else that found those templates as well. I was competing on features rather than selling myself as somebody that would what was an investment for this person or this client, right? By that, I mean, there were two problems. I felt that if I myself spent a lot of time on something, that it was inherently valuable, and I wasn't positioning myself as a partner, as somebody that was equally interested in their growth as my own, and that caused a lot of friction. So I could sell this thing, and people will continue to do this for all time. They'll sell, the one-off fixes and whatnot, and all the power to them, but it's a race to zero, and there's always somebody that's willing to do it for less money than you can afford. So how I fixed that was I positioned myself as a partner, as somebody that would work with them and not just say yes to whatever they needed, but anticipate their needs and start accommodating those. And that really changed the result and the feedback I got from my outbound campaigns. Brings me to mistake number 5, which walks lockstep with number 4. I was underpricing. When you compete on features, you tend to be a little bit more hungry, and there's a scarcity mentality behind that because there's so many other people doing the exact same thing that you are, that value is lost and you need to just present the lowest price. It was a race to zero. So if you sell features, if you sell the workflow and not what it means, not the outcome or how you can solve their problems and work together, you're selling yourself short, and you might get a couple bucks here and there, but it's not a viable model for success in the future. So the reality of the situation after my many mistakes and hours spent on introspection is that because the barrier to entry is so low, because these things are somewhat easy to pick up, there is a lot of people that are interested in chasing the quick buck and the race to zero. There are going to be people that present those YouTube templates en masse and race to the first yes they get, which devalues those solutions as a whole, right? Most people make these mistakes, one or all of them, and I've seen it so many times, whether it be in the communities that I'm a part of or helping people one-on-one build their online income. There's one, or they've always got experience with one of these. So how you stand out is you don't just offer the one-off AI solution, you offer an outcome and you really paint the picture as to how this is going to affect their business. And they're only going to believe you if you also position yourself as a partner, right? Like a solid investment for this person that is going to trust that you have their best interest at heart, because when they win, you win, right? So that person beats the technical vendor, right? Like the person slinging automations 10 times out of 10. The discovery phase to find out what really moves the needle and what people actually need is the pivot. It's the turning point for how I approach this business and when things started to actually become viable for me. So searching out and sniffing pain points for people, it's going to beat the cool tech demos and the theoretical agent workflows 100% of the time. People want like an actual response to their bottlenecks. They don't care about the newest model of GPT or this really cool agent that does whatever. Now that we've gone over all the problems and potential solutions, I was able to put together a framework that actually works, a winning 3-phase system that delivers results based on what actually worked and the observations I made after making this pivot and started, bringing in actual revenue. Phase 1, the discovery is crucial. It's the turning point for my business, at least, and of the people that I've seen implement this sort of approach, it's made all the difference. So AI is really cool, but at the end of the day, it's just another fulfillment mechanism, right? It's the same as if you were hiring a moving company, for example. It's just a fulfillment. The one-to-one of it is you're selling automations for digital ops and they're moving a box. It's exactly the same. So you have to approach it that way. And the way you discover what to sell, like which boxes you're moving or whatever, is but by just asking. There's a lot of resources and like it gets really convoluted if you look around, but like honestly, just reach out. Like pretend you're hiring a moving company. Ask people about their experience with this sort of thing. Let them know what you're doing and be curious. Listen to what they have to say and identify the problems that they're telling you that they have. Most people, when you ask for advice, they're pretty receptive. Advice or insights, right? Like the response I got when I was just honest and positioned myself as somebody that like legitimately wanted to learn what was causing them stress was so much different than throwing a bunch of spam emails, right? Like I am part of the reason why trust in cold outbound is so low at the moment. I digress. The second phase is acceleration. Once you have found these problems, you start to build out systems and reach out outside of your existing network and your warm contacts and stuff, and start presenting these solutions to a select few people, and get some more feedback about how you could improve and move forward with that. Phase 3 is what I started with, is mass outbound, is just pitching your solution to people that would need it, right? On mass, essentially. But this time, instead of just throwing darts randomly towards the dartboard, we know exactly what we're aiming for. We have an offer. We have a group of people that have proven that they're interested in this. And then we're just leveraging AI and email to get in front of as many of those people as possible. So that is my story. I wasted almost $7,000 with very little coming back in terms of revenue, but I needed that huge loss. I needed that failure to get me to the point where I would stop and reflect on the problem so that I could come up with the solution. And what works is focusing on the problem, build relationships, not just workflows, and create value, not automation. It's the same as any other business. Brick and mortar, you're another service provider, okay? So as soon as you think of it like that, I'm pretty confident your approach will change. And this is different than what you hear on YouTube quite often. So with this framework, you will be able to create a stable income. And I know that because I did. If you'd like to know anything more about that, I actually put together a 90-day program based on these principles, step by step. So day 1, day 2, it's all laid out for you. And that's available with the link in the description. And if you'd like to know which tools I landed on after I wasted all that money, you can check out this video right here. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.